Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to the manual therapy course. We were doing Carlton bone manual mobilization of joint and we were at the lower extremity. In last lecture, we go through the ankle and the foot region, but today we will cover the leg and the knee region. In leg, all of us are familiar with the leg anatomy. There are two bones in the leg. The one is the tibia and the second one is the fibula. Tibia is a medial large bone and fibula is a lateral thin bone. In this picture, which is on your screen, you can see this thick bone is tibia and this small bone is fibula. These two bones articulate with each other at 2 points, at the superior point and at the inferior point. At the superior point, it forms the superior tib joint or the proximal tib joint, and at the lower end, it forms the distal tib joint or the inferior tib joint. So the superior tibiofibular joint is at the knee level, and the inferior tibiofibular joint is at the ankle level. So I have this model. You can see uh, this bone is the tibia, and the small bone is the fibula. So you can see it. The thick bone is the tibia, and the thin bone is the fibula. So this tibia is articulating with the fibular head. This is the superior tibiofibular joint, and the distal one is at the ankle level, as you can see in this. The small bone is fibula, and this thick bone is the tibia. So it articulates over here with each other, and it forms the joint that is known as the distal tibiofibular joint. So both tibia and fibula articulate at the 2 points, at the superior one and at the inferior one, superior tib joint and the inferior tib joint. Before going to start the mobilization of both joints, we will go through the basic terminologies. In the superior tib joint, the head of fibula is concave shaped. In this, the head of fibula is concave, this part is concave, and the tibia is convex. So if we stabilize the tibia and mobile the fibula, the rule will be the concave rule. And if we go for this distal joint, at this point, the fibula is convex shaped and the tibia is concave shaped. So if we stabilize the tibia and mobile the fibula, the rule will be the concave rule. So at the proximal tibiofibular joint, concave rule, and at the distal tibiofibular joint is the convex rule. The open back position is related to the ankle joint. So the open back position or the resting position for both superior tib and inferior tib is the same degree of plantar flexion, that is at the ankle. So the resting position is related to the foot region. And the closed back position, the position in which the joint capsule is maximum tense and the muscles are in the fully tense position and allow the minimal joint play, that position is known as the closed back position. And for this joint, for both these joints, the closed back position is the dorsiflexion. The end feel of both these joints is firm because of the capsular and ligamentous attachment. In this diagram, you can see superior articulation and the inferior articulation. Okay. You have to memorize the direction of glide and the direction of roll. Roll and glide. In the concave rule, the roll and glide will be in the same direction, but in convex, the roll and glide will be in the opposite direction. As the tib fib is the saddle joint, cellar-shaped joint, so there are 4 movements at the tib fib. The one is the plantar flexion, the other one is the dorsiflexion, the next one is inversion and the eversion. So for plantar flexion, so there are 4 movements: plantar flexion at the foot, the dorsiflexion, inversion, and the eversion. When moves into the plantar flexion direction, what will happen to the fibula? If the foot is going to the plantar flexion, the direction of fibula will be in the interior and distal. So whenever foot goes into this direction of in plantar flexion, okay, if the foot goes into the plantar flexion, into the downward direction, the fibula moves interiorly and distally. So in the plantar flexion, fibula moves interiorly and distally, and when the dorsiflexion, when the bones approach each other, fibula moves backward and upward direction. This is the gliding of the fibula. So if you want to improve the plantar flexion and dorsiflexion at this joint, glide interior will be used for the plantar flexion improvement, and posterior glide will help to improve the dorsiflexion. The next movement is inversion. Inversion is a combination of movements. So for the improvement of inversion, apply interior inferior glide, and for the improvement in the eversion, in case of the ankle sprain, especially posterior superior glide at the lateral malleolus will be helpful. So if you want to improve the plantar flexion, interior glide; for the dorsiflexion, posterior glide; for the inversion is the combination of two glides, interior inferior glide. So it will be like interior and inferior, go into this direction. For the eversion, the direction will be posterior and superior direction. So these are the four movements, physiological movements at the tips of joint: plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, inversion, and eversion. And roll and glide will be according to this table. Now you can see the mobilization techniques. In the first diagram, this is for the proximal fibula interior glide. It will help to improve the plantar flexion at the ankle. You can see the knee is in the semi-flexed position. Therapist is standing at the foot for the stability, and with the help of the thumbs, the therapist is applying interior glide. So from the posterior side, apply a interior direction force. This is the interior glide. It can also be applied in the kneeling position, like in the second diagram. Now the whole tibia is stabilized, and the therapist is applying interior glide at the head of fibula. This one is the posterior glide. For this, one is in the knee is semi-flexed position, and therapist is sitting on the foot for the fixation, and with the thumb he is applying this posterior glide. And in the next diagram, you can see again tibia is stabilized with the help of the towel, and with the hand, therapist is applying the posterior glide. Now, for the distal tapsal joint, distal tibiofibular joint. At the distal tibiofibular joint, I told you for the improvement in the inversion and eversion, there will be the combination of glides. So for the improvement in the eversion, apply the posterior superior glide at the lateral malleolus. This is the lateral malleolus. So at this, if you want to improve the eversion, apply the posterior superior glide. So it will, in this, the whole fibula will move upward and backward. Now you can see the practical demonstration. So, patient is in the supine position, knee is semi-flexed, or you can also say that the patient is in crocline position. This is the head of fibula. Palpate the head of fibula at the lateral side, just below the knee joint, and the lower head of fibula is the lateral malleolus. So, for the posterior glide, sit on the patient's foot or ask someone else to provide stability by holding the foot. You can apply the glide with the help of thumb and with the help of the hand. So this is the posterior glide. You have to sit in front of the patient to apply the posterior glide. And the next one is the interior glide. For the interior glide, sit on the opposite side. So from that side, apply the interior glide at the head of fibula. Now, in the modified position, now the knee is 90-degree flexed. For the interior glide, approach from the posterior side of the patient, from the posterior side of the head of fibula, and apply the interior glide. From here, apply the interior glide. In the same way, you can apply the posterior glide. Now add the inferior dipsa joint. In this, you can see the posterior superior glide. Apply a towel at the lower end of the leg. It will provide the stability and it will allow the space to provide the glide. You can see, hold the medial malleolus with one hand, but don't hold it like this. Simply hold. Don't restrict the movement. And with the other hand, at the lateral malleolus, apply the glide in first posterior direction, but keep your hand in the superior. So this is the posterior glide, but for the posterior superior, this and this go into this direction. Here's one more video. In this, we can see both the interior and posterior glide at the inferior dipsa joint. Keep the foot in the 10 degree of plantar flexion. 10 degree plantar flexion will allow the maximum joint play. So simply hold the medial malleolus, and you can see that I'm holding the medial malleolus with my one hand, and with the other hand applying the posterior superior glide for improvement in the inversion at the inferior dipsa joint. This is the posterior glide, but you can combine the posterior and superior together. Now for the interior glide, keep the foot in the 10 degree plantar flexion, and from the other side, go in this direction. This is, now you can see, now the direction of glide will be towards my face, towards. So this is the superior and inferior dipsa joint. Now, the next joint is the knee joint. Knee is a large joint of the lower limb. It's composed of three bones. The one is the femur, the second one is the tibia, and the third one is the patella. You can see this is the knee joint. It is composed of proximal end of the tibia, the distal end of the femur, and a sesamoid bone, that is the patella, which is under the quadricep tendon. So it's composed of three bones. One is patella, the second one is the lower end of the femur, and the proximal end of the tibia. You can see the concavo-convex rule. The tibia is concave shape and the femur is convex shape. And we also consider the patella as a concave. Now, the next one. So, as per the concavo-convex rule, we will go through some basic terminologies first, then we will go for the mobilization techniques. So, for the step joint, so there are two joints in the knee. The first one is the joint between this tibia and the femur, tibiofemoral joint, and the joint between this patella and the femur, patellofemoral joint. So two joints are here. You have to mobilize both joints separately. The one is the tibiofemoral joint, and the second one is the patellofemoral. In the tibiofemoral joint, tibia is concave shape and the femur is convex shape. So, as per rule, if femur is stabilizing, as per rule, we always stabilize the proximal bone. So the moving bone is concave, that is the tibia. The rule will be the concave rule. But in case of patella, the patella end is convex shaped, and the concave shape is of the femur. So, but we most of the time apply the concave rule over here. The resting position for the tibiofemoral is 25 to 40 degrees of knee flexion. It means the mid flexion. If the person is in the prone line with the supine line in the crook line position, the knee will be in the 25 to 40 degree of flexion or the resting position. And the closed back position is the standing position. When the knee is fully extended, the joint is in the closed back position. But for the patellofemoral, the open leg position is 5 degrees of flexion. So if you place a roll towel under the knee, it adds a 5 degree of flexion at the knee. So it will be the open back position or the resting position of the patellofemoral. The capsular pattern is in the tibiofemoral is both flexion and extension, combination of both. But the combination is like the 1:14. So If the flexion is limited to 90 degrees, then as comparison to the flexion, the extension will be limited only to 5 degrees. So the more restriction will be in the flexion direction, but with every flexion restriction, there will be the addition of the extension addition. The end field of tibiofemoral is in extension is formed because of the ligamentous, because of these ligamentous. So in extension, and the for the flexion is the soft because of the soft tissue. So when full extension, the end field is formed, but in case of flexion, the end field of the tibiofemoral is soft because of the soft tissue approximation, the calf muscles and the hamstrings. But in case of patella, it is formed in all directions. The gliding and rolling at the knee joint. In the flexioning extension at the knee joint, there is a combination of rolling and gliding at the femur and the meniscus. So whenever knee is going into the extension, the menisci moves into the ventral direction, and whenever the knee is going to the flexion, the menisci moves into the dorsal flexion. So there are two main physiological movements, the flexion and extension at the knee joint, but these two movements, physiological movement, flexion and extension, is combination of some accessory movement, that is the internal rotation at the knee and the external rotation. In case of pathology, these internal and external rotations are lost. That's why patient is not able to perform the ranges. So isolated rotations are the part of only a healthy normal knee joint. Otherwise, these rotations cannot be performed at this joint. The patella glides proximally whenever knee extends. Whenever knee extends, the patella moves proximal upward, and whenever knee bends, the patella moves downward because it is embedded in the quadriceps femoris muscle. So contraction of the muscle pulls the patella in the proximal or the upward direction. Now we'll go for the mobilization technique of patellofemoral first. You can see there are 4 glides at the patellofemoral joint. The one is the superior glide, inferior glide, medial, and the lateral. So in this model, you can see if it can move upward, this is the superior glide. If it moves downwards, this is the distal glide or the inferior glide. This one is the medial glide, and this one is the lateral glide. So there are 4 glides at the patellofemoral joint. The distal glide or the inferior glide is used to improve the knee flexion. If the flexion is limited, apply the inferior glide at the knee joint. You can see the open back position of knee is patellofemoral is 5-degree knee flexion. For the 5-degree knee flexion, place a rolled towel, just a small towel. It will add 5-degree flexion and also fixate the femur. Now with the hands, make a cup with your hand and apply the distal glide towards the patient foot. But in case the patient flexion is limited, so keep the leg in the limited end range and apply the inferior glide. As you can see in this is the actual resting position of the patient, and the inferior glide is applied for the improvement in the flexion. Now the next 2 glides, medial glide and the lateral glide. Keep the knee in the 5-degree flexion, and very easy for the medial glide, as this medial glide approach from the lateral side and apply a downward force. This is the lateral medial glide. And for the lateral, so now approach from the medial side. Simply one, if you want to glide in the medial direction, approach from the lateral side, and if you want to glide the lateral glide, approach from the medial side. In these videos, you can see the gliding techniques. Keep the leg in the 5-degree knee flexion. Sit at the patient foot level. Now you can see superior glide at the patellofemoral joint. But you have to make your elbow extended. Don't forget to keep your elbow extended. So extend your elbow, make a cup, hold that patella and apply the superior glide. The superior glide helps improve the extension. Apply soft, gentle gliding. Now for the inferior glide, sit on the opposite side to keep the direction of force in the right direction. Now the direction of glide will be towards the foot. You can see, hold the patella, use both hands and apply the inferior glide. Now in the modified or the end range flexion, so in the standing, hold the patella and apply the distal glide. Simply, you can see the distal glide at the patella. Now, for the medial and the lateral glide, now you can see the medial and the lateral glide. Sorry for the inconvenience. If you want to apply the medial glide, sit on the lateral side, hold the patella and move on the medial side, inner of the thigh. Now you can see I'm applying the medial glide. For the lateral glide, approach from the opposite side. So if you are not able to palpate the patella, you can make it visible. So in this way, you can apply both the medial and the lateral glides. The patellar glides are very visible, and you can easily apply the patellar glides. But right now, I'm just giving with my fingers just to show you. But always hold the patella properly and then apply the glide. Now we'll cover the tibiofemoral joint. Tibia is wave shaped and the femur is convex shaped. So if we are fixing the femur and mobiling, the glide is applied at the tibia. So the rule is concave rule. So first we'll go through the different positions for the traction. This one is a simple traction position for the pain management and to regain the low-stud range. The knee is in the resting position, which I told you earlier is 25 to 40 degree of knee flexion. So you can see it's about 40 degree of flexion. The femur is stabilized with one hand and the therapist is applying the traction at the opposite hand. So in this way, stabilize here and apply the traction at the level of ankle. These are the modified form for the traction. If the knee is in 90 degrees, so hold the femur and apply a upward force at the ankle level. These are also the traction. I will show you the demonstration in the video. In this, you can see the traction with the 90 degree knee flexion. In this, you can see I'm standing on a stool. Hold the patient ankle with both between your legs. So by holding this, you will do the traction and apply a squeezing downward direction. So it is the simple traction at the tibiofemoral joint. So simply, you can see I'm holding the patient foot with my knees between my legs and applying a traction force. Now for the improvement in the ranges, for the flexion improvement, apply a posterior glide at the tibia, and for the extension improvement, for the flexion, posterior glide at the tibia, and for the extension, interior glide of the tibia. Interior posterior glide. Okay, the knee posterior interior glide test. These tests are known as the interior and posterior draw test. These are used to check the joint play. So first check the joint play, then go for the glide. This is the posterior glide at the knee. Stabilize. You can see there is a small towel under the lower end of the femur, and the femur is stabilized with the couch, and the therapist is applying the posterior glide with both hands. So it will help to improve the restricted flexion. You can apply it in this position. This is better, comfortable. Simply hold the tibia with one hand and apply the posterior glide with the other hand. This is also the modified form of posterior glide. Femur is stabilized. Hold the tibia, proximal part and the ankle level both, and move tibia both ends in a coordinated movement. Now the anterior glide. For the anterior glide, as you have to move the tibia towards yourself, the patient must be in the prone position. Again, the femur is stabilized along the couch with, and add a small towel to prevent the discomfort, and hold the tibia at the proximal and the distal end and apply the anterior glide. It will help to improve the extension. Now the medial and lateral glide. The lateral glide at the knee, as I told you, the normal movement at the knee, flexion and extension are the combination of accessory movement, which are the internal rotation and the external rotation. So for the lateral glide at the knee level helps to improve the restricted flexion and extension. So if you're applying the glides and if there is some limited ROM, then apply lateral glides and the medial glides. You can see for the lateral glide, approach from the medial side. Femur is stabilized with the help of towel. You can see here is a towel. Femur is stabilized. The leg must be in the sideline position. A patient must be in the sideline position. So hold the tibia proximal and the distal end and apply a lateral glide with coordination. This one is the medial glide. Move the femur. Now in the same position, stabilize the tibia and move the femur in the opposite direction. Now the rule is changed. The concave will become the convex rule. So now the moving bone is the femur. So but the glide is the medial glide. So in this way you can improve the flexion and extension at the knee joint with the help of anterior and posterior glide, medial and the lateral glide. In this video, you can see the gliding techniques. The first one, this is the superior glide. I'm standing at the patient foot level and applying the superior glide at the patellofemoral joint. Just hold the tibia and apply the glide. Now, this is the medial and the lateral glide. Stabilize the femur with one hand and apply. Right now, I'm applying the lateral glide. So, apply and hold the femur with one hand and from the medial side of the tibia, like this. Hold it and apply force in this direction. So, medial and the lateral glide. So, this one is the medial. So, you can apply the medial and lateral glide in this position if the patient is not comfortable in the sideline position. Now, for the anterior and posterior glide, patient leg is in the resting position, 45 degree flexion. Sit on patient foot for the better stability. With both hands, hold the proximal part of the tibia and apply the posterior glide. You can also apply the medial and the lateral glides with the help of mobilization belt. Patient must be in the prone position. Now, in the prone position, this is, you can see I am giving the lateral glide. This is very easy and comfortable for the patient and therapist both. Just fit the belt according to length. Stabilize the femur with the help of a towel and hold the ankle and the leg. Simply hold it and apply a glide. So in the same way, this is for the medial glide. So for the always approach on the opposite side. For the lateral glide, approach from the same side. If you want to give the medial glide, approach from the opposite side. So in this way, you can apply the anterior, posterior glide and the medial and lateral glide at the tibiofemoral joint, and the four glides at the patellofemoral are the interior, superior, inferior, medial, and the lateral. So today we go through the tib joint, superior tib joint, and the inferior tib joint, and after that we go through the patellofemoral joint and then the tibiofemoral joint. So these joints are helpful in improving the range at the knee level. Now you can ask your questions. Thank you.